All right. What's up? I'm Clary. I was just looking for some shit to criticize because, I love shitting on people. And typed in wokeism. I found this guy. The problem with wokeism in under 3 minutes. Chris Stefanick. All right, let's try it out. See what it's about.
What's up, you guys? I'm going to talk a little bit about wokeism and exactly what it is.
Let's do it.
For the believer,
I'm excited.
religion isn't just part of the picture of life.
No.
It's a frame that helps you see everything in a new way.
Distorts your view of things, yes.
Expands
I would agree.
your vision, gives you new insight.
Well, it doesn't really expand. Once again, it just changes it, right?
That picture. Listen.
Not necessarily right or wrong. It just kind of changes the picture and makes you navigate the world in different ways. It's not necessarily better than any other frame, right? Well, I guess the outcomes. You could look at the outcomes, but I don't know. Let's keep going.
For a religious believer, a religion shapes human interactions, the way we see one another, our purpose, the way we understand the arc of human history. Wokeism is not just a new idea, a new thing within the frame.
Sure.
It's the way people see everything. And to sum up this frame, it's that all of human history, our human interactions, our purpose on this earth, everything can be summed up in terms of power dynamics. Not truth, just power dynamics.
A lot of things can be analyzed with power dynamics, actually. I mean, when it comes to today's world, a lot of problems come from inequality of wealth. There's a huge difference in power there, right? In trying to address that's really good. There was obviously a power differential when it came to slavery, so it was good to look through that frame there. What about, I can't think of peasants, fucking lords. What was it called? The form of economy before capitalism. Feudalism. There we go. Yeah, the power dynamic there was pretty obvious. You had lords of the land and the people that worked it. It wasn't very good for the people that worked it. It was very good for the lords. Looking at things through that frame can be very useful. It's good, I think, to have multiple frames to analyze the world. So you're talking about just having one real nice frame, right? One real good one. There isn't really one frame that works in every situation, that gets you the outcome you want in every single situation you're in, right? So I would argue that anybody that looks through the world in, looks through one frame at the world is giving themselves tunnel vision to an extent. They're blinding themselves from a lot of other possibilities. That includes you. That includes all the woke people you're talking about. Includes everybody. I would say power dynamic lens, very useful sometimes. Other times, it's better to look at situations through a different one.
The dynamic of the oppressed versus the oppressor.
Yeah.
And for the spiritually woke, for someone who spiritually wakes up, they say you would see it literally everywhere. Another name for wokeism is nothing but ism.
Yeah, see, I feel like that's just part of the learning process. Like, once you learn about, sexism or racism or whatever, then you start seeing it fucking everywhere. I feel like that's just kind of, part of becoming a zealot and then slowly cooling down on it a little bit and just kind of recognizing, oh, this thing exists in the world and maybe it's good to change it. And kind of avoiding that trap of, seeing it everywhere you look. But I mean, you kind of fall in that same trap, right? You see God wherever you look and you follow his word no matter what. You're stuck in that one frame. Has it really benefited you all that much?
It's a reductionist worldview.
Well, once again, yours would be too.
Tell you that
they're both narrow-minded.
There's not just racism in American history. American history is nothing but a systemic political expression of racism, and the only thing you could possibly do with it is not redeem it.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody argue that. Okay, maybe some really crazy fucking leftists or whatever, but that's not what the majority of people think. They just recognize the fact that institutional racism is a thing. And we try to address it because it's bad, right?
But destroy it. It would tell you that white males are nothing but a toxic class of people, and the only way for them to be safe around anybody.
Once again, I've never actually in the real world heard anybody talk like this ever. All right. Actually, I did know one lady, but she was fucking insane. But yeah, people aren't running around going like, "Oh, white men are fucking evil and horrible and bad" or anything. That's not what anybody's saying, dude. We're going for equality. We're not trying to put people down. We're trying to raise people up. At least that's how I see it. Yeah. So if there are people out there putting white men down for being simply white men, I think that's fucking gross. Yeah, they shouldn't do that. I don't think that's the majority of like wokeists or fucking woke people, leftists or whatever. I think that would definitely be some fringe group you're talking about. It doesn't really matter.
Is to learn how to control their own toxicity. It would tell you that marriage is nothing but a system to oppress women.
Well, it kind of used to be. I mean, when women didn't have any rights. It was a little oppressive back then. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could both agree with that, right? I mean, they literally couldn't vote, dude. I don't know if it was. I feel like it was more societally. It was more of a societal standard that women didn't work. But that meant they were essentially like slaves to their husbands, right? They didn't have any money of their own. They couldn't just leave whenever the fuck they wanted. Like that was kind of fucked, dude.
That family life is nothing but a system to exclude people who identify as
Just to be clear, nowadays, like marriage is viewed as way more of like a partnership, which is cool. That's what we should be shooting for.
LGBT. For the woke, they see it literally everywhere. There was an article written recently.
Well, it also kind of sounds like you're seeing wokeism everywhere. Once again, I don't see this shit all the time. I don't see people going after fucking white men all the fucking time. I don't see people like going like, oh, if you're a fucking like married woman, you're a fucking slave to your husband. I don't see these people anywhere. So maybe you're kind of falling prey to the thing you're talking about, right? Maybe you're kind of seeing wokeism everywhere when it's not really anywhere.
In a London paper that said, roads designed by men are killing women. Unlike
Roads
Christianity,
men?
with its
What?
mandate to love those who have not spiritually woken up in Christ, there's a mandate in wokeism.
Well, there's that too. It doesn't seem like I'm not hearing a bunch of love coming from you, dude. There's that too. You guys talk about like being loving and accepting and all that. A lot of the times, I just hear you screeching and yelling like every other fucking political person. Like you're not above anybody, dude. You're fucking slinging mud with the rest of us. All right, don't act like you're not.
To cancel people who are not awake like you. Look, wokeism might seem to have the upper hand in culture today, but the louder it gets, the more I think it's just breathing out its death cry. Because the louder it gets, the clearer it gets that this frame is simply ugly.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, isn't it? It's kind of like what happened to Christianity in America, right? People started to move away from that because they saw how fucking ridiculous it is. You're right, dude. You're fucking absolutely right.
It doesn't expand our experience and view of reality. It shrinks it.
Oh, okay, so your frame expands, whereas other people's frames shrink it. Once again, I think they all shrink it. They all give you this fucking tunnel vision. That's why you should have multiple frames, so you can analyze one situation in a bunch of different ways, so you can come to the best conclusion possible about it. I think this idea of like having one frame to look through the world at is so fucking narrow-minded. Like, you're just as bad as the people you're criticizing, dude. You are just as bad.
It doesn't jive with our experience of life. It doesn't redeem our relationship with our fellow man. Wokeism is more.
But once again, you're not like meeting, the wokeists on like an even like footing or whatever. You're acting so fucking high and mighty about it. Yeah, I don't get it, dude. There's like no self-awareness here.
Without reference to truth. It's a puritanism without redemption.
Wait, and where's your fucking references to truth? You fucking Bible thumper? Are you kidding me?
It's a religious worldview without any heaven.
It's not really. Oh my god, dude. Oh, speaking of, once again, seeing things everywhere because you only use one frame to look at the world, you see wokeism everywhere, and apparently all ideologies are essentially religions. Okay.
And it's time to start calling this empty and divisive worldview exactly what it is. Christian, hunger and thirst for justice.
Apparently you don't, though, because you don't acknowledge that the racism's still a really big issue in our fucking country. Like, you have to be able to acknowledge issues in order to, what'd you say exactly? Again, hold on.
It is.
Fuck.
Empty without any heaven. And it's time to start calling this empty and divisive worldview exactly what it is. Christian, hunger and thirst for justice.
You don't hunger and thirst for justice. You hunger and thirst for expanding your worldview. That's not justice. That's brainwashing, if anything. That's fucking, like, yeah, moral, like, corruption. I don't know. Hunger and thirst for justice, huh? So, when it comes to the BLM protesters trying to actually get justice for black people because they're incarcerated at like insanely, stupidly high rates. They're unfairly. When it comes to convictions, they get higher sentencing and all that shit. So seeking justice for those people, that's not something we should do, right? Because in your worldview, it doesn't actually exist. It doesn't actually happen. Even though I can like point to things where that say like like black people do get fucked over by the justice system. Yeah, you're just gonna deny that that stuff exists and then move forward saying you're seeking justice. But who are you seeking justice for if you deny the fact that there are people, the classes in this country that are being oppressed? I don't get it. Who are you seeking justice for? If anything, you're trying to deny people justice, but okay.
But don't become woke. It's a whole other religion.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, dude, you're woke in like honestly, almost a fucking worse way. I don't know. That was fucking garbage. Yeah, once again, guys, if you have this one fucking way of viewing the world and that's the only way you ever view it, that's a fucking problem. You are narrow-minded. You need to expand. That goes for people that only see the world like this guy through a religious framework. That goes for people that only see the world through like sexism, racism, whatever. You need to be able to analyze certain situations with a bunch of different frames. You can't. The world isn't that black and white. You can't just have this one nice little frame to view everything through. You just can't. So I think this guy gets my vote of stupidity. He gets the stupid mark. All right. Well, thank you, Chris Stefanick, and I love you guys. Bye bye.